Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Governor Lusaka from Bungoma today received a rather hostile crowd in terms of allegations that he used 25 million Kenya shillings during the Madaraka Day celebration that was hosted by the Bungoma County, because it was said that Governor Lusaka used 25 million Kenya shillings for simply beautification. In fact, he was accused of using a whopping 25 million Kenya shillings to buy flowers, just cosmetics around. And this came up when Gen Zs, a group of Gen Zs who were protesting, confronted Governor Lusaka to explain how on earth he could use 25 million Kenya shillings to buy flowers on an event that was only taking place for one day in a county that has many poor people who cannot even afford 2 meals in a day, who cannot afford to take their children to school. And Governor Lusaka, while confronted with this very precarious explanation or question, said that indeed he used 25 million Kenya shillings as the host, but he said that he didn't use it wholly on buying flowers, but he explained that he also erected some monumental, flowers there, dustbin, erecting some metallic roads. He said that that money was used on many other things, basically beautification of that place, because the president, the deputy president, and a host of many other leaders were going to be there, which to me is still not very sufficient to buy that you can. That's the narrative that we cannot buy. That when you are hosting a Madaraka Day, you use 25 million shillings on only beautification. I think it is rather exaggerated. So today in one of the meetings, Lusaka decided to explain. But you look at the crowd there, because I want to show this video, they were rather not convinced. And you look at the countenance of the people, the mood of the people, you realize that Kenyans are very tired. Just take a look at Bungoma, at Ken Lusaka, at pains, trying very hard to convince the people that indeed this man did not go to waste. And he was even saying, Haki ya Mungu, kindly take a look.
Another issue that was raised, and you can die with stress if you have wrong information. My senator is here, and I want to take this undertaking. Comrades, I come from this county. I'm born from Kampia. I want to tell you the truth, that if flowers in this county have been bought for 25 million, and it is proved, go and look at the PQs. 148 was approved by the County Assembly, but it was not for flowers. There are many things that were supposed to be done. That's what I'm saying. Stress is not a because of lack of information. We are going to provide that information. Yes, that information is at Senator is here. Yes, this is there. We want you to check and see what the money was meant to. In fact, it has not even been paid. Let me tell you. Hakuna kama paid. Kwa sababu unajua uongo penye ukweli uongo utajitenga. My senator alisema mheshimiwa kwa kweli, I want you to take, because you have asked. Na ukiuliza utajibiwa. We are going to respond to all that you have asked. ESCC have invited ESCC to come, Auditor General to come. Yaani mtu esongo kwa maluga kama 25 million. Am I the person? I was very sober. I cannot. And those who are saying, let me also ask you, if I'm proved to be right, you also owe me an apology. After Mungu, you owe me an apology. Because I know what I'm talking about. It's not easy, but who are you to make a kilo, I'll give you resource. You can vote. Yes. And that wheelbarrow, I was late. There was no wheelbarrow that was bought, a normal ordinary wheelbarrow. Listen to me. That was bought for 109,000, which is an ordinary wheelbarrow. The matter went to court and people were paid. Let's be honest.
We've just seen. Was he convincing that indeed he didn't use the money? Because what was recorded is that he explained and he was saying that he's not mad that he did that. Now, the reason why it's not very easy to believe Governor Lusaka is because this is not the first time he's being confronted by allegations of corruption and wastage. A few years ago, Governor Lusaka was accused of buying some wheelbarrow for the county government. And one wheelbarrow, apparently we were told, cost, because 10 of them, 100,000, I think. And people were asking, really? And when he was asked what kind of wheelbarrows cost about 100,000, he could not explain. And this is why it is not very easy to exonerate him from these allegations, because it seems he's very much used to this kind of wastage. But then I watched this video and something came to my mind. Why is it that every day we keep on talking about leaders who are corrupt and then it is business as usual? That is one thing that really captured my attention. Why is it that we keep on talking about corrupt leaders year in, year out? After every electioneering year, we keep on talking about, corrupt leaders. And I remember one day, one of the things that Patrice Lumumba once said, that we are co-authors. Kenyans are co-authors of their own misfortune. Why? He was explaining that whenever we are granted an opportunity to elect our leaders, knowing very well that election only comes once after 5 years, and we have to live with the choices, because choices have got consequences. So we have to live by with the consequences of our choices. And he says that whenever we are granted with that opportunity, we elect thieves, and we expect thieves to start behaving like pastors. Do you think corruption can never end in this government? And this is why I want to show you that in this government, unless the population, the citizens and electors decide that we are going to end this once and for all, we will never end corruption. We will continue complaining, because when someone spends maybe 10,000 on one wheelbarrow, there are very many people that the money that is being wasted there or getting into people's pockets could as well educate some children who cannot go to school. I want you to find out from where you are coming from. You'll realize that there are certain, some students, or pupils who passed with flying colors, but they could not afford going to the schools, national schools, where they were invited. They got calling letters to national schools. Now they decided to go to the very county schools. So remember the schools that were started in the constituencies and the wards. Those are the schools that they can afford. But the politicians, the governors, senators, members of parliament and MCS are busy accumulating wealth for themselves. Now, it is not lost on us that the reason why William Ruto dissolved his government because of Gen Z's pressure was because there was a kind of showcasing opulence. Murkomen showing us his expensive watch. And I remember just recently, the Kapsaret member of parliament, Oscar Sudi, did the same, and leaders did not like it because some people felt that he's on a mission to sabotage William Ruto at a time when people are crying foul of most leaders from Kalenjin who are showing opulence in an environment, in a country where people are very poor. They felt this was wrong. But William Ruto has returned them, has revived them into the government. And that tells you that indeed there is no political goodwill. We can never fight corruption in this country if there is no political goodwill. And that is a fact. Now that we have realized that there is no political goodwill, this corruption will be perpetuated. Now, what else do we need to do? The only thing we need to do is that Kenyans must decide on their own that they are going to elect leaders who are impeccable, who are untainted. And I think the noise that we've heard about Gen Z should present themselves for very many elective seats. Most of them should go for the MP's seat so that they get elected. So that if you have maybe half of the National Assembly having most Gen Zs, then they will now make laws that is intended to what they promise people. Otherwise, they will keep on making noise. When you make noise on the streets and you don't present yourself for elective seats, you are changing nothing, because these politicians will always, tell you what they want to do, and they will do exactly the opposite. The electorate must also stop being hoodwinked, where you are being given some little money. I was shocked that the very, very person people were making noise about, oh, Ruto must go. Immediately, their senior members, the political class from their areas who were appointed into the cabinet, they were now saying, Ruto ni mweupe kama pamba. There are no demonstrations at all. And you wonder, when will we wake up? The electorate is being hoodwinked, and they have themselves to blame. And the politicians understand that when they are in power, they accumulate a lot of wealth. Then when it comes to election, 1,000 is enough. You're giving 1,000 and you elect the most unpopular leaders. Because the people who can change your political destiny, those who know how to use prudently the money that is in public coffers, they don't have money to corrupt you. So what do? You don't elect them. And then we are back crying for another 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, you understand that this government has captured institutions, independent institutions, the DCI, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, the Office of the Public Prosecutor there. There isn't any independent office that is acting independently. They are always dancing to the tune of the executive. There is no political goodwill. We've seen people are being retrieved from jail where they have been sentenced to years of imprisonment for corruption. Once they start dancing to the tune of the executive, wanachiliwa tu. And this is why I'm telling you that members of the society, the electorates, must wake up and present themselves and elect leaders of integrity. It is not enough that we complain. It is enough that we take action and elect good leaders. I don't know, for Ken Lusaka, if he was saying that we invite the EACC, I don't think EACC can do anything, because I remember the Office of the Public ODPP, Public Prosecution, sanitized and wrote a letter that he withdrew cases from Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya after he had been appointed into that very prestigious post. So, ladies and gentlemen, Kenyans are on their own, and they need to wake up and say that once for all, we have decided to change our destiny. I don't know what to think, ladies and gentlemen.